Hey guys, welcome to Nerd Stream Sunday. I am here with my spouse, River Park, and we're here to talk about, spoiler alert, Wonder Woman 1984, which I know probably a big chunk of at least the country we're in has not seen this movie yet, because if you don't have HBO Max, you probably weren't able to go see it in theaters. And yeah, you probably haven't had a chance to see it. But I wanted to review this movie while it was fresh on our brain, because we saw it on Christmas or Christmas Eve. No, I think it was Christmas evening. And we had some thoughts. And so what better way to express those thoughts than to throw them in a damn live stream? So here we go. Now, disclaimer, I like the movie, but there are some technical issues, and I think that I'm going to spend this review talking about the issues that we had with the actual plot of this movie. But if you have not known that there was a Wonder Woman movie out there, yes, Wonder Woman 1984, sequel to Miss Jenkins' first Wonder Woman movie, dropped on HBO Max on Christmas. I love Wonder Woman. She is my wet dream and crush outside of Xena Warrior Princess. I guess I do have a type. Love you. And so I was very, very excited to see this Wonder Woman movie. Now, Gal Gadot is still fantastic as Diana, is still fantastic as Wonder Woman. I'm leaving it at that. However, there are other parts of this movie that kind of set the same vibe that I had when I watched Iron Man 3. And that was a what the fuck. But we'll get to that in a minute. So premise of the actual movie is Wonder Woman's living her best life in the 80s, trying to stay on the down low, incognito. She's still fighting crime, but apparently nobody can see her face, or she doesn't want anyone to recognize her. But that's interesting, because she's never really had a mask on at any time as Wonder Woman, especially in the past, but whatever. I guess for some reason she wants to stay under the radar, which we do see if you watch the Justice League movie. She did do that. As a matter of fact, I think in her cameo in Superman versus Batman, or Batman versus Superman, which is stupid, she also was on the down low there as well. So she doesn't seem to want to put herself out into, the public eye.
That's one of my main issues with this. I don't have a lot, but that was one of my main issues, because she broke that rule, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, later. We'll get to that in a minute. All right. So at the same time, she meets a wonderful, I guess, potential friend. And her name is Barbara. And for those of you who read the comic books, there have been three versions of Cheetah. So this would be Barbara Minerva is the third. So we have Priscilla, we have Deborah, and now this is Barbara. And Barbara is that kind of girl who's awkward. She's nerdy. She doesn't know how to talk to people. People walk over her and treat her like crap. Essentially, Kristen Wiig's Barbara Minerva in this movie was Michelle Pfeiffer's Selena Kyle from Batman Returns, and from the 1992 Batman movie with Michael Keaton. And I put some clips below just to prove my point. So if you haven't seen the movie, or you have seen the movie, and if you haven't seen the movie, when you do see the movie, check out those clips and compare them, like literally story by story, up to when Kristen Wiig's Barbara goes to the party, how she meets Barbara, like her interaction with Barbara's interaction with Diana is so reminiscent of her, interaction with Michelle Pfeiffer's Selena and Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne. I mean, there's so many parallels, even down to the glasses and the way their hair, like their hairstyles. It is essentially Selena Kyle from Batman Returns. That is what Barbara's role is in this movie. I will fight anybody on that. So that's who she is. Now, the Barbara Minerva in the comics was a rich, narcissistic, crazy ass woman who basically collected things, and if it was shiny, she wanted it. There was none of this, oh, I'm scared of my own shadow stuff. That never was her thing. So essentially, I really feel like this movie modeled Barbara after Michelle Pfeiffer's Selena Kyle, and I will take anybody on that. At the same time, we have basically a wishing stone, or I think it's called the Destiny Stone. Maxwell Lord is a a man whose business is failing and his investors want to pull out. He's invested in oil and the oil is running dry. And so he wants to show his son Alistair that he is not the loser that everybody says he is. And so he sets out to get this. It's called the Dreamstone. And he decides he's going to use that to make his dreams come true. Now, the Dreamstone, which is called the Chaos Crystal in the comics, is actually a stone that basically comes from it's a spear of the gods, and it's like a catch-22. It's like one of those wish master moments where, if you make a wish and you get exactly what you want, there is a consequence. Like, oh, I want to be famous. Okay, but now my mother just dropped dead. That's literally what the Dreamstone is. Well, Maxwell decides to make a wish that he becomes the Dreamstone, which is interesting. That is an interesting take, I will say. I mean, that's not something I normally see happen, but that means he has the power to grant other people wishes. Now, prior to him getting his hands on it, 2 wishes were already made. One was made by Diana, who, of course, she wished for Steve to come back. And the second wish was made by Barbara, who wished to be like Diana. Now, those were direct wishes from the Dreamstone. And then, of course, when Maxwell becomes the Dreamstone, then all these other wishes happen. And the only way to fix your mistake is by recanting your wish. It doesn't stop all the damage that's done. So that's something that needs to be cleared up. So if you recant your wish, things will go back to normal. Technically, I think so. Like if you wished for somebody to die, yeah, that would change. But some of the effects actually don't go back. It's very strange. There are very strange rules to this Dreamstone. So in the story, Barbara becomes a lot more aggressive, a lot more confident. She becomes strong like Diana because she wished basically to be Wonder Woman. That's what she didn't realize she was doing that, but she wished to be Wonder Woman. And at the same time, because Diana wished to have Steve come back, who does come back in another man's body, she starts losing her powers because that's her trade-off. So Barbara starts losing humanity and Wonder Woman basically starts losing Wonder Woman.
So the Dreamstone, though, it's supposed to take your most prized, possession, so for Wonder Woman, it was her powers. But for Barbara, did she realize it was her humanity, her kindness? Because it was first her kindness. It wasn't she didn't turn into, a non-human being. It was just
she started becoming mean. There's a homeless gentleman that she was helping out.
Yeah, and she just didn't care anymore.
Yeah. So it started off, but
psychotic.
I mean, essentially though, it was taking her what made her human.
But it's supposed to take what you prize the most, what you cherish most.
Yeah. So I guess in a way though, I don't really know what Barbara cherished most. I guess that wasn't really, there was a scene where she went out to dinner, early dinner with Diana, and she talked about how she fell in love all the time and people don't see her and she seems invisible. Uh-huh. So it showed her what her greatest desire was, but it didn't really show what her greatest treasure was. So, but to be fair, I don't know if Diana's powers are her greatest treasure, what she treasures the most, because it might be her ability to love others. So who knows? I mean, I just think it randomly just took something and it started taking her humanity.
But it was supposed to be what they prized most.
Well, then that's another problem with this movie. I'm just saying. But yeah, so my first gripe in this movie. So Mr. Trevor comes back. And he comes back in another man's body. Now this is not a make-believe man. This man was not conjured out of thin air. This man actually was a living, breathing human being who was body snatched, basically, by Steve Tyler when Diana I won't say unintentionally, she unknowingly made a wish on this Dreamstone for her boyfriend to come back, and he came back in another man's body. And
she just accepted it.
And instead of accepting it, she has sex with this guy. She sleeps with this guy. and has like a kind of little mini romance with him because for her, she sees Steve.
You need therapy, girl.
That is major problematic.
Like that's too much.
That's major problematic.
Like, she accepted it so readily too. It's like, oh, it's Steve. Yay. We can go back to, being a couple again.
Like you see these tropes a lot in TV shows and movies where like a spirit takes over somebody. Look at the movie Ghost. But they were like Whoopi Goldberg's character willingly let him take her body. Or some comic books where you see like when their body possessed or a big Marvel I guess example of this would be Psylocke, how Quanon basically had her body or her soul taken out of her body and Betsy Braddock put in. That's a huge violation. And they talk about that even now, even though they're back in their original bodies, it was a huge psychological what the hell. So for Diana to just be cool with this poor guy having his whole life ripped from him, because this guy we see at the end of the movie, which I'll get to in a second, this guy basically has no idea that he's having sex with Wonder Woman. His body's being used as a toy. So I had a problem with that, actually. But that is my first gripe with the movie. So throughout the movie, though, we start seeing all the people that are affected by Maxwell's wishes, people that are wishing for war. So people like we're going to war with Soviet Union because, at this point, the president wished for more nukes. And so missiles started showing up everywhere. And so Russia's like, oh, you want to fight. So, it's like.
Yeah, they were just doing it out of defense.
Yeah, it was not a defense, but it was like, yeah, we're going to war. And like you see other parts of the world where people are being like water's being taken from the common people and people are trying to overthrow the monarchy. It's crazy. It's world chaos basically, the middle of the Cold War. So Maxwell made everything worse via giving people what they wanted. And it went from people asking for like coffee to wanting their wives to drop dead to wishing all Irish people went back to where they came from. I mean, it's crazy. So we're dealing with the repercussions of Maxwell being the Dreamstone and all the chaos it's causing, and the evolution of Barbara, which I think is a little too much for one movie, in my opinion. I think that because honestly, everybody in the comic book land loves, and absolutely loves, anything that has Wonder Woman versus Cheetah. They love to have that team up. It's almost like people that love to see Batman and Superman fight. It's just something people like. And I feel like it wasn't bad. The choreography wasn't bad, but it's like, okay, Wonder Woman was like weakened the first time and she got her ass kicked. It's just what happened. And then the second time it was like, I got this. Yeah. I'm good. I'm just gonna electrocute you. Yeah, it's all good. It's fine. Sorry about that. And it's interesting to me because I don't know. I just feel like that fight could have been a lot more epic had they been on the same playing field and it wasn't a wish-based thing. Like at some point in the movie, Barbara makes a second wish. And I know that my daughter was watching that. She's like, how is that possible? Because you only get one wish. This isn't like Aladdin. The genie doesn't give you three. It gives you one wish.
But Max said something in that plane where it was going to be okay that one time.
It's because technically speaking, Maxwell is a different stone. When he became the new Dreamstone, then anybody who made a wish on the original stone, the handheld stone, was not affected by him. So they could make that second wish. But anybody that made a wish with him, that's the ones that couldn't make the second wish, which is why
his son.
Yeah, which is why his son made that wish. And plus also why Barbara made a wish to be an apex predator, hence actually physically becoming a cheetah. And there were signs throughout this movie that she was going to be cheetah. She was like gaga in love with Diana's like animal print shoes. And she kept morphing her outfit wearing animal prints. It was, and they're all cat prints. So we got cheetahs, leopard, all like every type of cat print. So, of course she was going to, I don't know why she decided to settle on cheetah. Maybe because cheetah was the fastest and she was able to move faster. But you'd have to be brain dead not to see the signs of her evolution into Cheetah. And then she actually physically becomes the embodiment of Cheetah through a wish, which is interesting because if you know anything about the comics, Barbara actually gets her powers by drinking a potion. And she was always after the lasso of truth, which is interesting because she had no desire. As somebody who's in archaeology and loves it, she had no desire to even take the lasso of truth from Wonder Woman. She could have just grabbed it.
Well, she had no real contact with Wonder Woman per se until they were fighting. And so that was my major issue. It's like, how do you recognize that Wonder Woman is Diana if you've never actually like had contact and made connections like, oh, she has a lasso of truth or some kind of thing where you're like, oh, she's the girl that whooped everybody in the mall, like, or she's the one that, saved my ass, not Diana per se. Like, it's like, how do you jump from like, just because she calls out your name, a superhero can know anybody, and so she says, Barbara, don't. And it's like, how do you make that connection? That's like, oh,
yeah,
Diana. Oh,
you're Diana. You must be
voice.
Wonder Woman. Well, and then plus they don't even have the name Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
So they don't even know what to call her, and because she's incognito. So like she's fighting crime in her Wonder Woman gear, but nobody knows what the hell that means and who the hell this is. So even if she was seen, it doesn't matter because nobody knows who the hell she is anyway.
And she fights way differently as Wonder Woman than she did when she was saving her from the would-be rapist, mugger dude. Like shoving somebody and, forcefully so that they hit a trash can, 20 feet away is a lot different from like slamming them against, or, swinging them around and making them fly around an entire room. Like that's levels of different.
Yeah.
So you can't jump from like, oh, I recognize that move, of shoving to, oh, that means you're Wonder Woman. It's like, oh, and then, you go around the world saying, oh, you must be, Captain America because you have a frisbee.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Like, it's like, what?
To answer your question, Mercenary, does Barbara still have some of her powers at the end of the movie? They don't show it, but what we do know is you have to recant your wishes. And so everybody, when Maxwell actually said, I recant my wish, everybody who wished anything on him also had to recant their wish in order to have it. Reversed. So I'm assuming that she did do that for that one, but she had 2 wishes. And so she made a wish first to be like Diana. So the way I think they're going to keep Cheetah around is by her first wish not being recanted from the stone.
With the stone that he
because the stone was destroyed essentially because when Maxwell wished to be the stone, it disintegrated. So one of Barbara's wishes is gone. I think the other one is still there. And the way she was sitting up on the cliff, she still looked very angry and pissed off. So yeah. I'm 100% sure that she doesn't have humanity anymore. But that's just me speculating.
Or she's just like her face had a certain expression on it. And it was either like, I'm so mad that you did this to me. Or like, oh, I did all that shit.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, recognizing I'm back to Barbara the Sweet, I'm going to help, give my meal to the homeless man on the street, like that. And then if that person recognizes all the things she did, then, she would feel a certain way. But like that expression was a little different from the feeling that you would get then. Like it was a little more of that resentment, anger expression than the like remorse expression. So I think that somehow she lost her cheetah.
I think she lost her feral cheetah embodiment, but I think she still retains her wish to want to be like Diana. So she still has the strength and the aggression because it's still a trade-off for her. She did not. I don't think that Barbara recanted both wishes. I think if she did anything, she recanted the first wish and she kept the second. So she's not. I mean, it was going into this. You knew that she was not giving up what made her feel special because she's never felt special. So she wasn't doing that. But again, Mr. Hootie Dean, I will be happy to recant some. We're still going through it, but the only thing you've missed is me comparing Barbara to Selena Kyle from Batman Returns, 1992 with Michael Keaton. because basically their stories, their look, everything, attitudes were exactly the same. If you watch that movie, if you go on to, I don't know if it's on Netflix, if you find Batman Returns and you watch Michelle Pfeiffer's Selena Kyle, and then you watch Wonder Woman 1984, you tell me the difference between Barbara and Selena. I challenge you, because they are essentially the same character. So I don't know if that was who they based Barbara off for this movie, but I feel like that's who they did.
Yeah, the only difference is Selena at work was fully aware from day one after her transition that she was different, that she was, more powerful inside. And Barbara was still getting used to it the first time she went back to work, because she was like, oh, people are noticing me now. What's this? You actually see me? What's going on here? And then a few days later, or whatever, hours, days, whatever it was, then she's like the center of attention, most popular girl. Everything she saw in Diana, she was.
Yeah. Well, actually, and Selena Kyle does go through that transition a little bit. She just says, like River says, faster. It's literally almost the next day. Whereas, Barbara walked into the museum and they're like, people know my name. Yeah. Like, people are talking to me. So hello. Like, hey, they're saying hi to me. What the hell is that? So, but yeah, I did think that was a thing. And plus, the other thing that we were talking about was the body snatching of the poor guy that Steve gets it. That basically Steve is inhabits. I'm going to say inhabits a good word. He's not reborn. He's just inhabiting this body, like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And then Wonder Woman slept with him. And I feel like, I'm just going to say it, that is kind of like rape, because the guy's not consenting to sex with you. He doesn't even know who you are.
And I'm glad we're talking about this again, because if you think about, like, if the genders were reversed.
Oh, this would be a real problem.
A man who was sleeping with a girl whose body was inhabited by the former girl, like the girlfriend that, died or whatever, then people would be talking about that, especially in today's climate.
So Mr. Hootie, I like the movie. There are just aspects about it that were challenging to like, if that makes sense. So like we were just talking about with the body snatching, and then River's going to get to another one. Can you pull that on the light? I love live streams. I love how nothing works in a live stream. One of the gels just popped off of our camera, and I'm like, we're not blue anymore. So. Well, let me get through the other stuff, and then we'll talk about more in detail. But overall opinion, I did not hate this movie. This is not a hate movie. It is I liked it, but there were problems. That's basically where I am. And like I said, Wonder Woman has been my wet dream since I was like 9. So I have no problem with Gal Gadot's performance as Diana, because she has Wonder Woman. So no problem with that. And if I want to talk about one of the things that I liked that we got to see her aunt and her mother in Themyscira again. I love their like little Olympic thing they had going on.
That was
like
cool.
Competing. That was really cool. It was pretty. It was well shot. I loved it. And they got the same actress. I cannot remember her, the little girl who played Diana in the first movie is the same actress playing her in this. Just a little bit more aged.
It was also cool to see her like have to grow up through the whole idea of, what's right, what's you can't cheat because that's, not true. And to learn all that instead of just like being born, believing this because you're. Yeah.
Because you just have to believe it. But now, and they have a big emphasis on truth, which again is interesting. So like they are like the mother and the aunt were beating into young Deanna. Truth. Nothing's more important than truth. You have to understand truth. So that's why she has the lasso of truth. But yet you still slept with this guy.
You're still totally okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that he's
with
back
this
alive.
Poor guy with his life that's no longer his because your boyfriend's inhabiting him. Like, let's be real. If her powers were fading because of the wish she made to have her boyfriend back, if it wasn't for her powers being affected, would this poor guy ever get his life back? That is a real question I have. Would Diana just be cool with this guy no longer being there?
If Steve wasn't so didn't persuade her to let it go, because he's the one that persuaded her in the end. If he didn't say anything and he was like, all right, let's go live our life, be happy ever after, then would she have ever come to the realization that, no, this is not right. This is not true. Yeah. I got to let you go.
I need to understand.
If he was more selfish, would he have, like he is supposed to be, you know, true. Like he is, like when she described, when Diana described him to Barbara, she was like, you know, he was true, he was good and all that. So maybe like it is truth, you know, coming into play again as, you know, showing her the way.
Yeah.
But still, like she's supposed to have all that down now. She's not, you know, 10 or whatever age she was when she was still going through that.
And then let's talk about the fact that she says in the movie that Steve is her truth.
Yeah.
So does that mean she's not capable of having truth without Steve? I mean, that's kind of like how it sounded to me. I don't know, guys. I don't know. So we're gonna move on to the next thing that bothered me, and that was the invisible jet. So everybody knows, if you've ever watched anything Wonder Woman, I'm talking about to Linda Carter. I'm talking if you know anything about Wonder Woman, you know she has an invisible jet. She's always had the invisible jet. But in this movie, how she gets an invisible jet is by hijacking a jet
from the Smithsonian
or somewhere, and then using her powers, which we didn't know she had in the first one, that she apparently trained on, using either a coffee cup, or I don't think they had Starbucks back then, so we'll say a coffee cup to make invisible, to make the jet invisible. And she never tried to do this on anything larger than a coffee cup, and she made the entire jet invisible because she forgot to tell Steve that they have radar now, so they'll detect us while we're hijacking this. I don't know why that was an afterthought. I mean, it seems like a really big deal. But you know,
forget to tell people things that are like obvious in your world right now. So I can give her that. But if she's supposed to be the pilot of her own jet,
which they act like she doesn't know how to fly anything, so
yeah, she's just.
I don't understand. I've never understood that, but I get it because you know you had to have, you know,
Steve has to
Trevor has to have a role here. And then how weird was it that he was able to fly this jet that he's never seen before?
I just gotta
find the buttons. I'm like, oh my God, I can't drive a stick shift. I can drive an automatic. That don't mean a damn thing. I mean, I'm ignorant when it comes to the controls and panelings of whatever and whatnot of any type of plane because I don't know how to fly a plane. But how was he able to just like, I got this. Okay, that's that. This is the oil or the fuel, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. Sure. And I know the layout of Washington, D.C. very well, that I can start flying off to, you know, another country with
no
map.
They never pulled out
a map. Whatever.
They're like, let's fly through the fireworks, and then suddenly we're where we need to be.
And I have crazy stuff to talk about too, the add-on to this movie that I didn't understand. But one of the questions I just saw was from Mercenary X84. How did you like Diana flying? I thought that was a moment right out of Man of Steel. I was like, all I heard was Jonathan Kent and Jarrell, like in Kello's mind saying, "So spread your wings and fly, ride the wind." Like what? Now, Deanna, Wonder Woman can fly. Wonder Woman has always been able to fly. Well, not always, but later after Golden Age has always been able to fly. I have no problem with that, but that should have been something that was revealed back in Batman versus Superman. We didn't need to wait till this movie for her to fly.
Yeah, is that after this or before?
Yeah. Well, all those are before. Well, Justice League would not be before. I guess Batman versus Superman would be technically set after this movie since this is 1984. So she
should have been flying.
But I still feel like she should have been effing flying. I mean, that's just my opinion, babe. I'm just throwing it out there.
I'm saying because if it was after, then she should have been flying in that movie as well as, you know, in here because she starts flying in this movie, and if that's after this movie, then she should be flying there. Yeah,
she should be flying in Batman vs Superman and Justice League. Yeah. She should have been able to fly. And I don't think she fly? Now I have to go back and watch this. And I also need to watch the Snyder Cut now when it comes out to see.
She used her thing a lot.
I know she uses her lasso to propel her, but yeah, that was just weird. All of that was weird. There was a scene. What country were they in? They're somewhere in the Middle East, weren't they?
Yeah, I can't remember where.
Wherever they were, she was saving these two kids, and she lost. That's how we knew her powers were getting weak. Watch when she falls down, those kids are slammed into the ground and then she rolls over them to protect them from one of the tanks coming towards them. And I'm like, man, come on, those kids are dead. Those kids are effing dead. And there's no effing way those kids are alive.
They just get up and walk away.
They just sit there and she's like, don't play in the street. I'm like, we can't play in the street because our craniums are cracked open. That's what should have happened. That is real life. I can't even suspend my disbelief as a parent. We are parents. So as a parent, when you see a child slammed that hard into concrete, they're not alive anymore. Or if they are, just barely, or at least in a coma and severely vegetative and are unstable, because there's no way those kids got back up and resumed their day. There's no way. There's no way.
I mean, unless she still had enough strength to like hold them in her arm and then roll with them. So they like kind of hit the ground.
No, they went bam on the impact. The impact should have taken those kids out. I'm just saying. So yeah, there are a lot of moments like that in this movie that are just like, what the hell? So, okay. I like what DeLorean Revan said, still better than Captain Marvel. I actually like Captain Marvel. Don't hate me. I have no problem with the Captain Marvel movie. So please don't get on here trying to shoot beams at me through that for saying that. I didn't have a problem with the Captain Marvel movie. And now that we're getting Monica Rambeau, I know I'm not going to have a problem with her either. I will be reviewing WandaVision, guys, because I'm excited as hell. I even bit the bullet and yesterday upgraded my Hulu, so I got Disney Plus, so I can have all of the MCU goodness to talk about and review and be happy. But anyway, so back to Wonder Woman 1984. So problematics. So let's talk about Maxwell. Like, I had to take notes on this because in the comics, and I'm not trying to rip on this because, DCU, even MCU, they take liberties with plots. They change characters. CW does it all the damn time. They're probably the best example of this.
And doing it in the worst possible way.
Maxwell Lord in the comics was never poor, and he was a metahuman. He had the ability to control people's minds. That was his power. He didn't need a dreamstone. He didn't need the chaos crystal. He could just do it on his own. So his character was hard for me to swallow because not only this, I could be down with him not being a metahuman. I could be down with him not having, all these powers. But then they started showing these flashbacks of him being poor and his dad beating his mom and then yelling at him for peeing the bed. And then you see his shoes and he's got his toes are poking through the holes. He, like Barbara, was loaded in the comics. He grew up with a silver spoon in his mouth. He had just as much money growing up as Bruce Wayne did. So it was really hard for me to feel sorry for this guy because they made him completely different. And I feel like they wanted you to relate to him and have sympathy for him for being this big of an ass. That's what I think. Like, even how he was treating his son, the power got to his head, which could have been his trade-off for becoming the stone, because he still inevitably made a wish. So, for him to have everything, he loses everything is basically what's happening. But even still, it was hard for me to feel sorry for him, not just knowing his comic origin, but also knowing that, he was an ass. I mean, he was an ass before he made the wish. So I don't know if that's what they were going through. Like, they're trying to humanize Maxwell Lord. And I love that his son was the one who got through to him. Because Wonder Woman was doing this like speech saying, truth is the only thing that matters, and only you can save the world, and blah, blah, blah. And she's talking like to everybody because it's broadcasting through the last. But inevitably, that is not what saved the world. What saved the world was Alistair, the little boy,
and a piece of rope,
and a rope and Alistair saved everything in 1984. I'm like, if that little boy had not been there, I mean, this movie would have been SOL.
How did he survive through all that going on, though? Like, yeah, he ran out of the building as it was.
Because Alistair was effing cool. I mean, he's like those kids in the street. How did they survive the impact of the concrete against their skulls? Man, I'm telling you.
Mixedness has power.
I mean, just saying. Let's see. This is I'm in disbelief.
see
Our
what they
Diana
got.
brought the kids to Themyscira and used the purple healing ray. Otherwise, those poor kids are dead. Thank you. I kept looking at the scene over and over again and the impact of those kids hitting that damn concrete. They should be dead. No, I'm sorry. No. All right. So there were some other Easter eggs in the movie too. I made sure that you found one. Now we have not read or seen any other reviews because we didn't want to like F up our brains. So we have been like completely MIA from the computer in general, other from me making a thumbnail and scheduling this live stream. So if we miss
headlines that were not favorable, but I
don't like reading seeing other reviews because it kind of, when you're doing a review or you're talking about something, I always feel like it affects your opinion. So I didn't want anybody else affecting my opinion. So, so we did see in Diana's apartment, there are pictures like all over her, like mantle and like everywhere in her apartment. We saw her with like Trevor's old command group and with a young Etta Candy. And then we saw her with an elderly woman who I think is also Etta Candy, which kind of makes sense because in the comics, they had loads of issues where Diana and Etta Candy were best friends. And different, actually, it was kind of cool because I think they were even they actually shared a dorm in one comic series. They were like dorm mates. So I was cool with seeing that. We also saw, like in the picture, it said like Trevor's Ranch. And I don't know if that's Trevor's Ranch based on, I keep trying to figure out if they talked about him having a ranch in the first movie, like his family own a ranch. I don't know, but it kind of seems like she went to his family's ranch after he died. I don't know, because it's not Steve Trevor, it's Trevor's ranch. So I don't know, maybe it's his family's. I don't know. I'm just kind of throwing that out there. Simon Stagg being the investor, and is it Black Gold, I think is the name of Maxwell's company, and pulling out, saying we're not getting any oil, so I'm pulling out, is really funny to me because in the comics, Simon Stagg is also kind of low-level DC villain. If you know who Rex Mason is, our Metamorpho, he is a huge arch nemesis of Rex because Rex had a thing for his daughter. And so basically Simon Stagg tried to have him killed, and he's done a lot of other things here and there in DC, but that was one of the main things that started off his villain trek in DC Comics. So I always said I think it's funny when they bring other villains in and put them in like tiny little minor roles, because in this one, the only thing Simon did was he said, I'm taking my money back because your business is going nowhere. And the first thing that Maxwell did when he got the ability, the wishing ability, is went and had Simon Stagg wish that Black Gold would do really well. And then he took all of the shares from Simon and then had the tax evaders come in and basically clean house and destroyed Simon Stagg and his company, Stagg Enterprises. So I thought that was interesting that they had the cameo, but they really didn't have, he didn't have a bigger role in it, like further in. So that was a lot of Easter eggs for me. And then we have, I'm trying to remember the name. So we see Gal Gadot's husband and daughter. So at the very end of the movie, where we see the body snatch guy, and that's what I'm calling him because he's the body snatch. The one that she had sex with, and she was, and when she was standing next to him,
they shared a look.
They were sharing a look, and you just saw Diana smiling. She was like, "Yeah, I tapped that." That's basically what she was thinking. I'm sorry, it's just so weird to me. So while she's talking to them, and she's like, "Cool outfit," and he's like, "Oh, my friends, they give me a hard time, but yeah, it works, and you made my day." And he's like, "Well, see ya," and he kind of walks away, and I'm like, he'll never know that Wonder Woman bagged him, not once, probably twice. But in the background, you see all these people doing Christmassy things, and then you see Gal Gadot's real life husband and daughter are on this carousel. And River pointed it out because River's on Instagram and was like, "That's Gal Gadot's husband." And I'm like, so that was kind of cool that she had her real husband and her real daughter.
I heard that they were on a lot of her sets, like part of her productions a lot.
Yeah, but I mean, sometimes, it doesn't, I guess it helps because Gal Gadot right now is actually a producer of this movie. So I guess when you're a producer, you can have them on there. I don't know. But I thought it was kind of cool that, they had they were just kind of like doing a father-daughter thing. He's holding her on the little carousel, and that's really her husband and daughter. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then let's see who else. I know we had Linda Carter playing, and I forgot the name. What was the name? Oh, it starts with an A. Guys, what was the name of the character in Themyscira who sacrificed herself fighting off all of the, was it Vikings? Who kidnapped them? Apparently everybody in Themyscira was kidnapped by guys, basically. And is it Adam? I'm going to get the name. But Linda Carter in the Easter egg was the Golden Warrior. And that's what I'm going to call her for right now. She's the one that had on the golden, it's made of all Themysciran armor. So it had like the whole golden armor of Themyscira, I guess, that Wonder Woman had on for about 10 minutes. Like maybe a little bit longer in the movie. So they had like all these promo shots with this golden armor, and she probably only wore it for like 10 minutes.
The wings left.
The wings were gone. Well, because Cheetah was beating the hell out of those wings. So I got to give her that. The girl was on it. But so at the end of the movie, this pole's falling down, and then you see his hand come up, and then from the back profile, you think it's Gal Gadot's Diana, but it's actually 1984's TV series version, Linda Carter, who is still like at her age, she can still get it. She's hot. That woman aged very well. I mean, I literally could see her just pop right into the Wonder Woman universe with no problem. But then my question is, why did she not go back to Themyscira if she was alive? Like, they assume she's dead. Like, she sacrificed herself taking out all these guys. But why retire, in Washington or wherever the hell she was? Why? Like, I don't understand.
I'm to see the world.
She's like, I like men. And they don't have to be body snatched. I gotta get her name though. But no, that was pretty cool. That was a cool Easter egg, though. I like that we got a Linda Carter. Whenever they put Linda Carter in anything, I get excited. Like, I was happy when she was in Sky High. So, as the principal. So, Asteria. Thank you, Nicholas. Asteria. That's it. So, Asteria. But why did Asteria not go back to Themyscira? I mean, you would think, like, after...
Maybe she's walking there, like, in that shot. She's like, I'm just going to save this person and...
she's still walking. Okay, then let me ask you this. Why did she dump the suit? Because remember, Diana said she looked for Asteria, couldn't find her, but she found the suit. So Asteria was like, they got the best of me. I'm not working for them no more. I'm living my own life. That's what it seems like. How did she get money? Who helped her? I'm so involved and invested now in Asteria's story that I want to know more. I want to know more. I need to know how she survived outside of being on them, because I mean, all she's known is how to be, an Amazon basically from freaking Themyscira. I need to know. I have questions, guys.
Patty might put it in the third one if she makes it.
I mean, what I'm hearing is they're trying to fast light a third movie now. So
she just has to decide.
I don't know what. I mean, what's it gonna be? 2000? Oh, it'll be Wonder Woman Y2K.
So that is a question I had just randomly. Like, I might have just forgotten from the first movie, but why is she in 1984? Why is she living in the 80s?
Probably, because everything...
Did she live through 50 years, or is she like...
Well, I want to say it's probably because of all of the tensions that the United States had. The first one, they were still fighting the Nazis. Now they're fighting the Soviet Union before, the Cold War. So, I mean, they skipped Vietnam. And she kind of skipped the civil rights movement too.
Like, did she live through all that as Diana, and then like she just doesn't age, and now we're just peering into her life in 1984? Okay.
That's what it seems like. I want to know where she got her credentials to be working at the Smithsonian.
That would make sense then. Why she was so lonely for all those years.
Yeah, but how did she get her credentials to work at the Smithsonian? I'm always. I mean, if
you have 50 years to play with, like, you can go to school and learn anything, really. Even if you're stupid, like, you can go to school and keep learning shit over and over, and then like finally get it. Like, if you really want it that bad, you can just. But somebody as hot as Diana is, you would think. Plus, what is her last name? Is she going by Prince? Did they ever? She called herself Diana Prince. Mm-hmm. So she got a degree in a college with no high school and no elementary representation or track whatsoever. She's like Doogie.
She's like season 2 of Charmed.
Yeah, basically.
We're dead, but we still can
Or a
get jobs
Doogie
about
Howser
Social
that's just
Security.
like, I'm so smart, let me just take your entrance exam and show you. And then they're like, okay.
I'm sure that goes over very well, especially with her accent. She definitely does not sound American. So, this country has always been a little racist. Come on now. I'm like, just putting it out there. But yeah, so overall, I did not hate this movie, guys. I didn't hate it.
It was good.
But problematic as shit. So I'm going to look at some of your questions now because I want to know. Named Aricia, who is a man-hating blonde Amazon. She's from pre-Themyscira. When the Amazons lived in Greece, she stayed behind while the Amazons escaped to Themyscira. Yeah, they were kidnapped, I guess, by the Greeks. But it seemed like everybody in Themyscira was kidnapped, and they all left, which is interesting because there have been other versions in the comics where Themyscira was always created by the gods and it was always a realm and they never left Greece. I don't know. I guess it really depends on what universe and who's writing the comics version of Themyscira. It's been 50 years. I'm sure she went to university, and with her contacts in the military from the 20s, I'm sure they helped her fake documents and say she got her GED. I mean, why the hell not? They're just doing what every immortal does.
Military
fake documents all around. I mean, yeah, you're not wrong.
Those benefits.
Let me see. I didn't love the movie, but I loved all the comic references. Stag, so cool. Set it up, Duke of Deception, while they did their research. They did. I mean, like I said, I have no problem with that. I always find it interesting how small some of the villains' roles are. Like, they'll come in for a minute and be like, yeah, you're a total dick, but you're only in here for 5 minutes. So sorry you lost your business. Peace out. Sorry, the tax evaders are at your door.
So is it like this is after he did all that because of his daughter?
No, I mean, at this point, it probably hasn't even happened this night.
So he gets all his stuff back?
The thing about with comics, we don't know. I mean, a lot of the stuff that happens, like look at Stargirl, for instance, things that happened in Golden Age or happened in, the Justice Society of America, which kind of tweaked up in the CW version now, happened like years and years and years ago, but now it's in present time. So we don't really know what they pull from in terms of references. Like, I don't know.
Well, it's like we leave him with nothing at the end of this, so I guess he has to build it all back, which wouldn't.
Which they do. Villains build up their money all the time. Makes me mad because I can't save money. I mean, they lose everything and then they get billions back. Kind of pisses me off a lot. So this may be controversial, but I really wish they had kept Barbara instead of having her as Selena Kyle. I'm not letting that go. She was Michelle Pfeiffer's Selena Kyle from Batman Returns. I really wish they had actually stuck to her British narcissistic, I am better than you. I need all the shiny shit, to make myself be relevant, superiority complex. I really wish they had done that. I know they probably made her this little mousy girl who nobody notices, which makes no sense because, she's not ugly. Like, there's nothing about Kristen Wiig that's ugly. I mean, it's not like they're like, oh, you have like one tooth in your head. It's like, what is it, Nanny McPhee? It's not a Nanny McPhee situation going on here.
It's the same thing though with Clark Kent and Superman. Like, all he did was take glasses off and change into a Superman outfit and slick his hair. And then all of a sudden Lois is like, whoa. But before that, Lois was like, meh, friend zone.
Yeah,
like,
but
forever.
I never really liked that either because I always thought that it was strange that this guy that had like a 6-pack and was flipping built, just these little glasses made him less than. And so that was always stupid to me. Like, it's dumb. Let me put the curl in the front of my head. That obviously is camouflage. It's just, look, this is 2020. We are almost 2021. We're hoping that this day and age, we're not that stupid. Like,
so it's like back to, Wonder Woman trying to go incognito all these years, like, and then Barbara is sniffing her out at a first glance. Like that would make sense because that's more normal.
Well, okay, so like Charming Sir Nick, thank you. We are the Beanie Squad. So that's how marriages stay together. You think it's working out your shit. No, it's just getting hats. So Gal Gadot is effing gorgeous, right? Her putting a tiara on her head and wearing what most men would refer to as very good bondage gear, um, would not protect her identity. Like,
Still see your face.
because not many women in there look like you. And are not that damn tall. So sorry, babe, that just doesn't fly. So that to play on to that though, that may be why she was trying not to get on video, because they look at her and be like, I work with that bitch at the Smithsonian. I'm like, I work with her. That's not Weird Girl in Metal. That's Diana Prince. She's 2 offices down. What you doing, girl? But yeah, it's a mess.
Yeah.
Maybe Diana called or prayed to Athena or Hermes to get them fake documents so passed through undetected, like in Percy Jackson, or she intuitively know via blessing from Athena. I love you, Nicholas. Like, let's see. Jet Groove, just admit you didn't like the movie. Shut up, Groove. I did like the movie.
It was good.
See, if you know anything about this channel, which since you've co-hosted on it before, Jet Groove, you know that even if I like something, I'm going to review it, honestly.
Hey, why are you spoiling yourself too?
Yeah, you haven't even watched this movie. Why are you here? But no, plug your ears, Groove. The problems that I had are what I said. I did not appreciate the fact that the invisible jet, how that came into play was by her saying, oh, I forgot to tell you about Mr. Radar, so I'm going to use my magical powers to make it invisible. And also I've only ever succeeded or tried this out on my coffee cup. Hope it works. No. Her flying, I felt like she should have been flying the entire time. So the whole flying straight out of Man of Steel scene, she even did like the thing. She did the Man of Steel, the Superman fucking thing that Christopher Reeve started, man.
Maybe it's the technique. Like, maybe that's how you get it to activate.
That's a yoga pose. Whatever.
Maybe that's what it takes.
That bothered me. It bothered me that, like, quite frankly, I can't get past the body snatching.
Yeah, that was
I can't get past the problematic. I mean, if I die and I land in some girl's body, like downstairs, you're going to sleep with this girl because I'm in the body and be like,
that's right.
That's problematic as hell. And also I can't get over the fact that those kids aren't dead. Those kids should have died. They hit that concrete they hit it. When I say they hit that concrete, it wasn't just a bloom. No, they said bam, and then she rolled over, and then she saw the tank coming towards them, and then she like cradled them to protect them from it. But I'm like, they're already dead. Like, you don't have to save them. They are dead. Guys.
They needed a physicist to like talk them through the mechanics of this on the set.
Yeah, and if I had a wish though, I wish there were a lot more action scenes in this too, because there were good action scenes in it, but I felt like we were dealing more with the emotional side of everybody. Like, we had to know that Maxwell felt like a loser and he didn't want to look like a loser in front of his son. We had to see that Barbara felt like a loser and she wanted people to know who she was. We wanted to see how depressed and lonely Diana has been. Which I do get, because at this point in the 80s, all of her friends from the 40s or 30s and 20s would have been dead, because they would have been dead or in their 90s probably.
Mm-hmm. And she can't associate with them anymore when she's not aging.
Yeah, she doesn't age, so that sucks. Like when she was sitting at dinner and the guy had set the other table and he's like, are you waiting for someone? She's like, oh, just me. We had to know that, I guess, that she felt alone and not connected, because essentially she gave up the mascara to come there with this guy that she fell in love with, and then he died
early.
He
would have died later at an old age if he made it, and then she would have been through this 50 years later.
And this reminds me of that movie. Was it Nicolas Cage and Meg Ryan where he was an angel?
Vaguely recall it.
And he gave up being an angel for her, and then she gets hit by a truck on her bike, and he still has to live a human life now without the person he became human for. That's basically what Diana did. Only Diana was like, but I got my man back. I'm like, in this body, and I ain't letting him go. Like, and I mean, moralistically, because I love Wonder Woman. Now, okay, hear me out. She did kill Maxwell in one version of the comics. It was right. I think it was Infinity. Was it Infinity? Infinity Crisis, I think. She killed Maxwell because he was messing around with Superman, and Superman was beating the hell out of Batman, and she killed him. She killed Maxwell in the comics. So she has made those choices that you're like, oh. And when she made that choice, it was broadcast. I remember like they somehow it was broadcasted. Everybody saw it. So like everybody hated her, and Batman and Superman were like, even though you saved our lives, you crossed the line. You are no longer my friends. You know, the whole Arrow, like, where Arrow's like, only I can kill people because I have the moral compass to handle death. I'm like, no, Oliver, you just, no. But so she has made interesting choices, but still, from an island full of women who despise men, well, you know what? Maybe that's what that is. Maybe she felt like that was an expendable man, and the only good man was the one she was in love with. Maybe that was a Themysciran thing. There you go. I think I solved that problem. I mean, but yeah. So yeah, overall, liked it.
It was entertaining. Like if you don't get too caught up in the what just happened moments, then or the questions that come up, then it's a really entertaining movie. Yeah. Like if you just let all that go, let all your comic book knowledge go and just watch,
which we do all the time.
It's a good show. Like
it's
entertaining. The action scenes are good. And yeah, it's good.
Yeah, but they're just not as many action.
That was
scenes.
A criticism
That's
that I
probably
saw
a thing that I mean, I would have loved it. I mean, I feel like I'm let me see if I can name them. There's the mall scene. Right? Which was awesome. There was a cool mall. I mean, honestly, I will tell you, the mall scene cracked me up because when the guy grabbed the little girl and he was going to throw the little girl over the side because they were on like the second level. And even his partner was like, what the hell are you doing? Put her down.
No, that's too far, dude.
You're crossing the line. How am I going back to jail? What the hell is wrong with you, Jerry? Like, that shit was funny. But the way she did that and the way she like used physics to throw her tiara to hit people, things like that were cool. So the mall fight was cool. I don't want to say it was cool because when they were chasing Maxwell and he was in the front truck and they had all like the other trucks or tanks, whatever the fuck they were. I think there was a tank and then trucks. I don't know why. It kind of annoyed me a little bit, but it did lead to the scene where the kids should have been dead. So, I mean, I got that, I guess. But so that was kind of an action. Like she gets out and she starts running like Barry Allen in CW. But she does get out and run, and she kind of semi has action, but that's when we realized her powers are going out. So it was half action, half what the hell, this is really weird. And for some reason Steve had to save her a lot, and that kind of irked me because you don't have to save Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman saves herself and then you when she's in the mood. So that I don't count that as a full action scene. The scene where she took on Cheetah, even though she was weakened, I gotta give girl credit. That was a pretty cool scene because she whooped Wonder Woman's ass. She whooped her ass. Then the battle between Diana and Cheetah at the end was kind of good and kind of not. I mean, it really to me kind of felt fast.
Yeah,
like it was very anticlimactic. Like they built up to this epic showdown that took probably like 4 minutes, 3 minutes.
No, yeah.
And then I'm just gonna electrocute you. Like, renounce your wish. No, sorry. And there you go. So I kind of felt like Pharaoh Cheetah had moments. Like I liked when she was jumping through all of the electrical poles. But yeah, it really wasn't that. Now that I'm really thinking about this right now while I'm talking about it. I guess it was a very anticlimactic. I would have loved to have seen more. I would have loved to see Cheetah. Cheetah should have hung out. She should have hung on a little bit further. She should have held out a bit. Like Wonder Woman, wish it on the Dreamstone. No, what will they take from me? Nothing. I'm poor. But so we have like the wings, and she's like beating the hell out of the wings, and then Wonder Woman like hits her and then it throws off the wings. She doesn't really use her bracelets, but she uses it twice. The first time she can't get it to work very well, and then the second time it works, and you're just like, but I'm like, okay, huh. All right, maybe that's the note that I need to take. I think the fight scenes should have been a lot longer and have more action. So yeah, another pet peeve. There you go, guys. See, they're coming. They are coming. But yeah, that is my opinion. Serenity, sad. Number 1 Open Olympics, the mall, the car. Thank you, Cara Road battle, White House, final boss fight.
Olympics was awesome.
I will say the coolest part of the movie was the flashback to Themyscira. I kind of wish they would do a whole like movie based on Themyscira. That would be badass. I would watch that.
They need to build that at like Disney World or whatever. The Olympics.
They need to make that an
would
Olympic
be
team.
awesome.
Like have people compete on an island, make it look like Themyscira, and have them do that. I think that would be cool.
You could do it.
From what I remember, Maxwell Lord, he was basically mastermind with Sebastian Shaw Complex. Yep. And when we get to the Wonder Woman 1984, we get this. So I'm like, what the hell? Yeah. Only they dumbed Maxwell down a little bit because, again, he's very cocky because, he's the heir of his family's empire. And he actually is a lot like a lot of other villains I've seen, like in Birds of Prey and other movies. They have the same complex. They are power hungry and crazy. But in this version, they made Maxwell come from very humble beginnings, and that's not who Maxwell is. So, I mean, why would you name your child Maxwell when you have no money? That's stupid. I'm like, hello. Well, my name is Maxwell, and I have a pack of ramen to last my entire family for 2 months. No, that's not.
He was already the Dreamstone, and his parents wished upon him that he would become great.
Yeah.
With maximum everything.
Yeah.
So they named him as such.
But I mean, that's what they did throughout this whole movie. Like I said, Barbara herself came from a rich British aristocratic background.
Yeah.
And they made her not really have anything. She had no confidence. She was Selena Kyle from Batman Returns. I mean, that's it. And I have put clips, for those of you who have seen the movie, I have put clips of Selena Kyle in the description of this live stream. So when we are done, when you have time, click on those references and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking the glasses, the hair, the attitude, the first clip where she's still Selena before Catwoman, and then how she evolves to Catwoman is exactly the trek that Kristen Wiig's Cheetah takes in this movie.
And then you're going to go want to watch Batman
Returns.
Then
you're going to go watch Batman
Returns. It's inevitable. It's the best Batman movie there is.
My experience with the film, first 15 minutes, loved it. Checked out till 1:45 when they go to Caro. The film as it should have been 90 minutes, and I would have loved it more. Thank you. I feel like it was definitely too long. I feel like they did too much. I know this movie was supposed to come out in June, so I feel like maybe they were trying to make up for it by adding in all kinds of stuff, or maybe they just, maybe Patty was like, I don't want to edit this movie. I'm tired. COVID's draining me, so fuck it. Or maybe they were like, we all can't be in the same room, 6 feet. And nobody's listening to my editing, on Zoom, my editing critiques. So just do your best. Just keep it all together. But
or I don't know if I want to go through and do the third one that I've already written in my head. So I'll just throw all this in here in case I don't go through.
Yeah,
the third.
And maybe if you like it, I'll do the same thing with my next one, which we more than likely are going to get a third Wonder Woman movie. I mean, I don't know why we wouldn't, because
she has to decide if that's her path.
But see, that's the thing. Like, yeah, Patty Jenkins said she has to decide if she's going to follow it, because she's on a spiritual, I guess.
She already knows where it's going.
So she knows where the story's going, but she needs to decide if she's going to do the story. So we may not have her as the director of the next one. And then you got to wonder how this is all going to tie in with Flashpoint, because when Ezra Miller, let's pray about it. When Ezra Miller comes out, when his Flash movie comes out, it's going to probably undo a lot of crap. And now the good thing about it is they did confirm that Michael Keaton is coming back, and he better be coming back. I'm pretty sure they said it was as Batman, but he better be Batman. The only thing I will accept is Batman from Batman Beyond. If they're rolling in the Batman Beyond, I'm there for that too. Or they probably have him as his dad. Since in Flashpoint, it was his father that was Batman and his mother was Joker, which was still a very cool storyline. I would be down with that too. Either way,
cool, yeah.
Either way, I think actually having him as Thomas Wayne would be very cool. But I am actually looking forward to that. I wish we could take the Flash part out and keep everything else. But I'm wondering how that will affect Wonder Woman. The problem I have with DCEU is everything is so effing disconnected. They had a Joker movie that's not in the same universe. You know, we got Birds of Prey right now. Birds of Prey, I don't feel is connected to anything else in the DCU. I don't see Shazam saying, oh, that's Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey over there. I don't feel like they're connected. I don't know if Suicide Squad 2 is going to be connected to anything. I don't think Aquaman or anybody else is going to be connected. They should be, but I don't know because DC is not rolling that way with the DCEU. Not how MCU is connecting every effing thing from Disney Plus to their MCU, which is brilliant. It is. And I love DC and it's irritating. It is effing irritating because they have very good stories and they have very good characters and they F up all the effing time and it drives me nuts. So even when we got Crisis, which I've said this on this channel on the CW, I had hope, but I wasn't stupid. And I was not let down because I knew they were gonna fuck it up. And they did. It got the CW treatment. So I don't know. I don't know how Wonder Woman's going to fare. I don't know where Wonder Woman 3 is going to fit into this Black Adam, Shazam 2. Are we getting another Superman movie? Who knows? Flashpoint, the Batman universe. I don't know if they're connected. I also don't know how visually I see Aquaman, the Robert Pattinson's Batman, and Diana all working together now after seeing, our previous Batman. It's so weird to me.
It's like the writers and creators of the DCEU movies all had their own separate visions of what they wanted that particular story to be. And so they were like making a painting. And then Marvel is like, no, we're going to make an entire visual art book that is a whole story. And it's a part of a series of stories like manga. And this is what we're doing. So we're going to, make you want to stay because the characters are going to continue their story in the next book and the next book. But DCU is like, I have a grand masterpiece. And
none of these pieces fit together in the same puzzle. That's literally it's like the Batman is going to be probably a very kick-ass movie. I enjoyed the trailer. I thought when you saw Robert Pattinson and Bruce Wayne beating the hell out of that thug in the street, that was Batman. That grittiness, that dark, that was the Gotham. My parents were killed in the alley. I am effed up Batman that we all know and love. But my thing is, after you see Ben Affleck interacting with Gal Gadot, it's going to be really hard for Gal Gadot to be interacting with Robert Pattinson for me because it's not going to be on the same playing field. Because with Ben Affleck's Batman, he was seasoned Batman. He'd been doing this for a long time. This is the newbie Batman. How is that going to play out in the same universe when you've already had a relationship between Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman and Ben Affleck's older, seasoned, mature Bruce Wayne? It doesn't make sense.
It's forcing you to do what, like, the video game we're playing now and like some other stories do where they like jump you around when you play the original design, and it's like, we're going to start here and then we're going to pull you all the way back here, and then kind of like they did when they did the throwback scene to Themyscira, but it's like entire movies are thrown back and forth.
Yeah.
And in time and
it's
in
just,
place.
it literally feels like Earth 1, Earth 2, Earth 3. It's like different. It's like a multiverse. That's basically what it is.
It's a what if. It's a choose your own adventure.
Well, my problem is with Prime Earth characters, they should at least all connect. I can't have Shazam being the same universe right now, with Wonder Woman, but yet Batman's not. That's stupid. Even though technically Shazam would be a Prime Earth character too, because he was in the Justice League for a while. And a bunch of other teams, but just putting it out there. Well, let's look at a few more questions because I know we're rambling, but I always get really passionate with DCU because I'm so mad at them because they're just effing it up. But all right, so let's start here. Let's see. I prefer the 2000s Phil. I cannot see Jimenez version. Oh, aka post 0 hour continuity. Cersei and Dr. Psycho with Mel Cheetah made Vanessa Silver Swan. Yeah, just use female Cheetah instead. Bam. Yeah, well, I thought they were going to use Priscilla for Cheetah instead of Barbara, but I guess with the new 52, kind of makes sense to use Barbara, but it just didn't. It's not the Barbara that we know. But again, I'm not hating on that because it is the comic version and they change stuff like this all the time, so it's fine. This sets up Dr. Psycho, Cheetah, and Cersei to come back in the third film as the main villains. I do agree with that. But again, I don't know. Depending on when they do Wonder Woman 3, if it's post the Flashpoint movie, it may be something entirely different because everything that happened in this would have probably been rewritten. That's the thing about Flashpoint. It F's up a lot of shit. So I don't know. I have no idea if her movie is going to be a playoff of Flashpoint or if it's going to be something set prior to Flashpoint. You can't do that with Wonder Woman because Wonder Woman is really old. I mean, it's true. So let's see. I like the movie, but I felt they should have just focused on Max Lord as the villain and had the Barbara Diana friendship build up in this movie. And the third is where she becomes Cheetah. I agree with that. That would have been such a good idea because they almost felt like they didn't know what to do with Barbara after she made the wish. It was just like, oh, well, you're just becoming aggressive and beating the hell out of people. Good job.
Yeah.
And then actually, if she did, they kept in the plot from the comics where she wanted the lasso of truth to add to her collection. That would have been more of a betrayal because Wonder Woman was really upset because she thought they were friends in the comics. And when she did that shit, it was like, oh, you're just using me to get to my Themysciran gear. Basically, you want my shit. So that would have been they had this whole friendship build up. And then it would have been some like Peter Harry crap from Spider-Man going on. I thought you were my friend, Goblin.
Yeah, more of an investment too in their friendship too, like because they were friends for like a second, and they had a dinner together and a coffee or maybe not, and like a bunch of work interactions.
That's true. If you really
but
think
really
about that.
Not a lot of emotional investment.
They didn't have because she was too busy having sex with the body snatch guy.
So by the time that they meet at the White House as Wonder Woman and the amped up version of Barbara who doesn't care about people anymore, like then it's like. All she cares about is, Barbara, don't do this. And it's like, but
that's very true though. Okay. So you know what? Jirabu and River both have made a point here. That is another problem that I have with this movie. Well, I'm getting more things that I have a problem with now. This is probably not good. It's bad to have this on the live stream.
It's still good.
It's still a good movie, but you know what?
But if you,
there was no emotional attachment between Diana and Barbara because they only knew each other for like 4 days. That's what it feels like. Yep. It's like, you're my friend of 4 days. Yep. Don't do this, Barbara. Well, yeah, where were you the other day?
Why is Barbara going to listen?
Because she's not. Yeah, there's no investment there.
Of friendship.
Cersei, I would have liked Cersei working her magic in the shadows as a major antagonist with minor minions, or should I be amusing associates with characters like Jinx, Femme, Cyborg, or yeah, I could see that. I could see that being a thing. I don't think they thought that out though. I mean, what you're actually showing Serenity right now, or Nicholas, what you're actually talking about right now actually is light years ahead of the research they've done in this movie and the development of this movie. So just putting that out there. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to get up to the top because it keeps scrolling down. There's a lot. Hi, Ito. I'd pretty much be watching the movie just for Cheetah. LOL. Fair. You'd be disappointed because you but that's fair. Quarter Life Jam. Why the hell are you in here too? You haven't seen this movie. We have had this talk, lady.
They bit the bullet and got the subscription.
No. No. What did she say? Oh, teaming with the other Amazonians would be cool to see. Yes, this is how I know that you haven't seen this movie, woman. But yeah, I think that I would love to have. If I had a wish list for DC, they would do a spin-off TV series, like get another streaming place like Hulu or somewhere, and be like, well, maybe not Hulu because they got rid of the Runaways. I'm a little mad about that. How about? I don't want them on Netflix either. Shit. I'll get back to you on the streaming service, but we get another streaming service and they do a side, not CW. I know that's not streaming, but not CW, but they get another streaming service for DC that ties in with their movies. And so we get a whole history of Themyscira type TV series. And that ties into the Wonder Woman series. That would have been effing cool. And if you had to bring in a Green Lantern movie, or you want to do a Green Lantern movie, then you roll it off of, you know what, do it on HBO Max, because they're doing the Snyder Cut. So get it with HBO Max. They have money. And then have the because they're doing a Green Lantern TV series, I'm pretty sure. Have that spin into your first John Stewart, hint, hint, John Stewart, Green Lantern movie.
Yes.
And that's how you get him associated into the Justice League. And so all of these movies have HBO Max spinoff TV series that tie in, just like they're doing with Disney Plus and MCU. It's not hard. It's not hard. I mean, you invest all this money in the Snyder Cut for Justice League, and they're just a bunch of shorts. So, I mean, why not do series? I mean, I don't know if HBO Max is listening. You should. But yeah, that should happen. Then haven't watched the movie yet.
Fill in
but
all the gaps, though. Like, they could easily fill in all the gaps of, like, how does this connect to here by just putting them in a spinoff series, and then that's how you get filled in. And you also get introduced to all these villains that will become bigger villains later on. Thank you, Yito. I know you haven't watched the movie yet, but wanted to show support for the channel, so I popped you over there to spotlight you for a second. We love you. Thank you. You are one of my original ATNers. I love you very much. Scooting up. The story arc where Maxwell dies is called Sacrifice. Yes, that's what it was. When Wonder Woman was like, well, You're killing my boys. You're making my boys kill each other. So you got to go. Let's see. There are like 4 action scenes. If they did one action scene every 30 minutes, it would have worked. But because they put them at the beginning and at the end with nothing in the middle, that's what it felt like. It felt like if you were eating an Oreo and they forgot the cream. Right? They're still good, but not spectacular. Is that a good one? A good analogy? Need to be a Big Mac versus an Oreo. More layers of stuff. So a stuffed Oreo. Well, like more layers to it. I have celiac disease, so what the hell do I know about Oreos? Like, they look good in theory. A gluten-free vegan Big Mac. Yeah. So what was the point of Scott Trevor as a Spectre body snatching a random guy along with being Diana's casual dick appointment? We literally could have had Thomas Dresser. Yeah. No, I just can't even wrap my mind. It's so weird. It's just so weird. When we were watching this movie, I kept looking at you. I'm like, if she's seeing her Trevor, her Steve Trevor, why does she not realize that that's not his body? Because when he first approached you, you saw it was a guy with black hair, almost a little bit of ethnic, like Italian looking. And you're like, I don't know you. Stop following me. And then you're having sex with him. Like, yeah, banging him. I was like, oh. Guys. But how does like saying the line that they know together make you realize it's him? Because she never told that to anybody else. No, I know that. But and then he had to watch. If you could see your Steve in this man after that, why couldn't you see that Steve soul through the man in the body that he was in before he said a word? Like, just looking. That's true, because you didn't really put it together. Well, I'm assuming that she never saw him as him. That we just, as the audience, were shown this, so we know that he's inside it. Which means she looked at this guy's face and body and was like, "But the soul is my boy." She just went for it. But why doesn't the soul shine through before he has to say anything? Why are you asking questions about a movie that obviously did not want you to ask that question, or they would have had an answer for it in the first place? But you just gotta. I mean, don't try to make logic where there is none. You gotta keep up. You got smart people watching your stuff. So anyway, so yeah. Inquiring minds. But yeah, I really feel like, again, I don't think the movie deserves the hate that it's getting, because it's getting a lot of hate. Not that low. I've seen shittier movies than Wonder Woman 1984. Trust me. Oh yeah. Shittier movies. But I can subscribe to some of the things. The technical difference that I'm talking about. Honestly, though, I don't know what some of the things they're talking about, because I haven't read or seen the reviews. But if it's anything like the body snatching thing, I understand. The body snatching thing is an issue. The invisible jet, like,
origin in this movie is an issue. Her learning to fly. Like she didn't even have like a stumbling moment. She just fucking jumped. I was like, I'm gonna ride.
She was so angry. It was like,
she was like, oh, my man is gone, so I'm gonna fly.
I don't care what happened.
So that's an issue. For me personally, the kids not being killed, I don't want the children to die. Don't take that from this. But I mean, if you're gonna have a scene like that,
save them better.
Have them have something wrong. Not just be like, they didn't even have, did they have dirt on the, I didn't think they were dirty. Nothing. That was a problem.
Her and have her bruised up and stuff, getting up from that. But have them fall on her and then, have them bruised. Because
I swear, guys, you can go back and look at this scene because I will. I know she half landed on these two kids
and they don't
like
even,
a cushion. They didn't even limp away. That was a problem. The lack of action scenes, that was a problem. Now you guys have me really seeing the bond between Barbara and Diana being flimsy at best because they really didn't have time to establish a friendship. And then actually using that as a subplot to try to convince Barbara to stop, that was a problem.
Yeah, we had to have it a third movie thing.
Having Barbara as Selena Kyle, Michelle Pfeiffer, Selena Kyle from Batman Returns, when there are so many other avenues they could have had for Barbara that would have still been acceptable and still would have made sense. Even having her be confident like Diana and bonding over their confidence and being strong women and women in science and working together and passionate about work. And then having her have an underlying motive of wanting the lasso of truth later on and wanting to be basically Diana, that would have worked. So that to me was kind of a problem too.
They just had to have a moral of the story told.
I feel like they just had too much going on in this movie. But that's really what keeps happening in a lot of superhero movies.
Yeah.
So since Spider-Man 3, I'm talking Spider-Man 3, Tobey Maguire's, but which is ironic because Tobey Maguire more than likely is in the new Spider-Man 3, the movie that was kind of his downfall would be his saving grace. How life works. But yeah, we guess we should do a theory video on what's going to happen in Spider-Man 3. I keep hearing all kinds of crazy shit. I want them to do Spider-Verse. I know that's Marvel. I'm sorry, I just jumped the gun, but
they set it up with the animated version, so.
Nicholas said, wait a minute. So Diana was like, I want the soul of my man, Steve Trevor, but everything else is a bonus because let's not forget she saw all of Steve in Wonder Woman issue 1 and Diana was not impressed. It's not the size that matters, Nicholas.
And a bigger stature doesn't necessarily.
Yes, just how you use it. Serenity, basically all the problems we had with the film is what most reviewers have a problem with. Too cartoony, not enough action, too long. Cheetah wasn't needed for the plot. Oh, cool. Look at us doing reviews that people have done that are a little antagonistic, and now I feel bad. But we got to keep it real, guys. This movie has a lot to improve. But again,
could have been worse.
It could have been worse.
A lot of
it could have been a
lot
worse. So yeah. So that is basically what we got, guys. We have been doing this for an hour and 22 minutes and 40 something seconds and counting. I'm not counting. But I will be reviewing again. I'm going to be reviewing all of the MCU shows that come out, because especially Hawkeye. I love Hawkeye, and I love Kate Bishop, and I love. I really hope that we do get to have my wonderful friendship between her and Miss America, because I love her and Miss America's banter, and I love the Young Avengers. I'm probably alone in that. Yeah, West Coast Avengers were weird, but it was still funny, and I liked it. So maybe I'm just strange, but I really want to have my Young Avengers eventually in the MCU, and I want to have that. So I'm going to be reviewing the hell out of the Disney Plus MCU everything. So that will be happening. I am going to be doing another live stream on Friday, but that's going to be a speculation video. So I won't talk about that until I can affirm it. But I also did a interview with Masako X from Team 4-Star and from the Naruto and Dragon Ball Z Abridged series. So I will be posting that interview this week because we've already done it. I just got to finish editing it. I have been sick, so I have not been. I'm playing catch up. So this is my catch up time. My mustard time. But yeah. I love you guys. So I will be back posting. What day is this? I don't even know what day this is. I'll be posting another video probably on Tuesday. If you guys have any other comments, concerns about Wonder Woman 1984, please post them below. I'll respond and I'll probably learn something because, I like being educated. But we won't take up any more of your Sunday. Thank you for hanging out with us. And my spouse, River Park, who I got to do more. River talks so much. I'm so excited because River doesn't talk a lot. Obviously, I'm a Sagittarius, Cancer. I talk more. But we love you. So we will be back probably on Friday. When I say we, who knows? River might be in the video with me. We'll see what happens. But yeah, Wonder Woman 1984. Tell me what you think. Write your comments below. Peace out.